What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here, Coach's Corner, Thunderbolt, Georgia. Another episode of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting. Hey, I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday night out there, man. We're going to get right back at it like a bad habit. First time tuning in, y'all know how we like to start the show out, man. We like to start it out with what we call the word of the day. So if it is the first time you've ever tuned in, man, what basically it is every time I say this word during tonight's episode, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I have no idea what it is. Lawrence will throw it up here above me somewhere below me. Anyways, every time I say that word, make sure you take a sip. I like to say it's age appropriate as well. If you're under the age of 21, man, it is Wednesday. I know your mom and dad probably ain't going to like you staying up late, but hey, man, whatever. If you're watching, give a hell, get some sweet tea, some Kool-Aid, whatever it may be, man, play along. So last week's word of the day was Harvick. Seeing as how he won there, coming out of Michigan into next week, headed into Richmond. I probably said Harvick quite a few times during the show. If you played along, probably had a pretty good buzz on. But hey, at the end of the day, tonight's word is going to be, I have no idea. But every time I say it, take a sip of that beverage, y'all. So getting right into that NASCAR news, man. I mean, what better way to start it off than Kevin Harvick? Happy comes home with the second win of the 2022 season. And I tell you, I think a lot of us had him doubted that he would go winless the whole season. Started getting down into the summer months, and you kind of have these two circled, pretty much two of his best racetracks. We're going to touch base a little bit more on this later on. But Kevin Harvick there again. Wins it again at Richmond, man. Big momentum headed into the playoffs for that Ford camp, man. The wait is finally over. We touched base on this a couple months ago. The Project 91 car there with Trackhouse Racing and Justin Marks getting some guys in. Hey, Kimmy's here, man. He's ready to roll. We're going to see what he does at the Glen this Sunday. We don't have to wait any longer, man. A few more days. We'll see what this former champion can do inside of a Cup Series car, man. I tell you, that have earned their stripes and done what he's done, especially what he's done in any kind of motorsport. But it's a totally different beast, man. I mean, we're getting ready to get into a car where, you can touch, you can bang, you can use the car itself to move guys out of the way and drive in corners more deep and aggressive than what you normally would. So I think the biggest thing he's going to have to get used to is aggressiveness, the way that he drives on top of the way other drivers are going to drive him. So we're going to see what he does, man. I wish him the best of luck. The top 20, top 15 best, but outside the top 20 more than likely. That's just my guess right there, y'all. You heard it here first, man. So do want to give a big shout out there to social media, y'all. If you haven't yet, please go out, like, share, follow, all that social media. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. Most and mainly, definitely make sure you go check out that YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share all that, man. I say it all the time, the more eyes we can get on that channel, hopefully the more money we raise for our charitable causes and events we do here at Coach's Corner. Ultimately, that is what it's all about for me, man. So like I said, if you haven't yet, go out, like, share, follow, all that social media, man. Make sure you check out YouTube, subscribe, share it. Hey, man, let's make it happen. So still no word on the Kyle Busch contracts. I mean, we got Kyle Busch, biggest fan back here. Y'all saw him earlier on that little coaches news. But I tell you what, there's no word on that contract yet, man. And I think it's going to be one of these things that's a waiting game. Sean, you like that? I know Sean likes it when I touch his car. But we're going to have to wait and see, man, what really happens with him, honestly. I think it's going to be a waiting game. I mean, we're still having issues with sponsorship. Kyle's already came out and said he's willing to take contingencies, drop that yearly amount on his salary down to make it happen. So I think the issue lies deeper than just Kyle Busch contract money. We do know he was the highest paid driver there over the last few years. So I think now finding that sponsorship with Mars backing out is the biggest deal. And to be honest, it's really hard. I mean, it's a big commitment for a main-time sponsor to come in and drop tens of millions, if not, say, $100 million on sponsoring a race car year in and year out. So I think we're going to wait. Now, with that being said, the longer we wait, the more of those rides I think we'll see off the table. We do know the 10 car is still open, going to be open, unless Eric Almirola drops some kind of bombshell saying he's coming back, which he has kind of second-guessed himself. But there will be something for Kyle Busch. I still don't see him leaving Joe Gibbs Racing. That's just me personally. Maybe I'm a diehard and like to say he's going to end that career there. But at the end of the day, there will be other opportunities, and I do see Kyle Busch racing in 2023. So, I mean, everybody that's out there, you know, talking shit, going, hey, man, I don't think he's going to be able to make a ride, or maybe he doesn't have a ride, or Richard Childress is still pissed at Tyler Reddick for leaving, so the 8 could be open if 2311 opens up a seat with Kurt Busch. I mean, that could happen very easily if Kurt doesn't come back. I mean, there's still a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but I think this is something you're either going to hear later on in the playoffs, into the season, or sometime during the offseason. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. But as of right now, no word on the contract. I'll keep you tuned in, man. So another ride did go off the market today. Speaking of a guy, Ryan Blaney in the 12 car signed a long-term extension there. Blue oval, Lawrence throwing up the oval symbol at me. You know, long-term extension there with Penske Racing in the 12 team. We don't know the details on how many years, but most of the time when you hear a multi-year deal, it's 2 to 3. So I'm thinking long-term's got to be maybe just say 5 years, 3 to 5, I would think, somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, great sign. I mean, the guy's done good things. He wins races over there. He contends inside those playoffs every single season. You know, he and Austin Cindric being the young guy. But at the end of the day, Ryan Blaney's one of the best talents out there in the young drivers. So signing him on long-term is going to do nothing but build your program. The sponsors love him. Penske obviously loves him. I like him as a race car driver. A lot of fans out there. So big news, man, and I'm glad to see him get it locked down. So we do know that car isn't going to have Kyle Busch in it. But big thanks and big shout-out out there to Penske for re-signing Ryan Blaney, man. Awesome dude. One of Lawrence's favorite drivers. Got a couple other buddies of mine root hard for Ryan Blaney. So glad to see him staying put over there at Penske, man. So moving right into the next thing, the bubble watch, man. And I tell you, it's gotten worse and worse as we're moving on. I told you it's going to get more exciting. We're coming into the last 2 regular season races of the year. Playoffs are heating up. Man, I tell you what, 2 guys got to watch out, man. And Ryan Blaney's sitting right now in 16th. He's got it locked up by 26 points over Martin Truex Jr. I tell you, that is not that many points. One bad run here at the Glen, and going into Daytona, something bad happened there. It could swap the other way. It's 21 positions on the racetrack, or 21 different places earned through points. It's going to be interesting to watch and see, man. But right now, Martin Truex is on the outside looking in, and Ryan Blaney's got himself locked in. Now, if we have another first-time winner here coming up, it's going to shake things up even more, and who knows? Daytona's Daytona, man. Anything could happen. Anybody can win that one. We've seen it happen a million times before, so we got to keep an eye on it. But I think the most disheartening thing about this, and I'm going to talk about it a little more in another segment of the show, is basically consistency is dead in NASCAR, man. We're talking about guys that are in the top 3, top 5, top 6 in points, regular season points, and after race number 26, and when we move into the playoffs, one's in and one's out. So I think it's something we got to look at. We'll get a little bit more in it later on. But as of right now, there again, 26 points separating Ryan Blaney in the 12 and Martin Truex Jr. in that 19. We'll see if Truex can gain something back at the Glen. We know that Toyota has struggled this year on road courses. I don't know, man. It's going to be an uphill battle for that 19 team, man. But I feel like if anybody can do it, Truex can definitely go out and put himself in position to win. So keep an eye on that, man. So getting right into my favorite segment of the show, the checkered flag for charity. This is the main reason why I really do the show, on top of talking NASCAR and usually getting to drink some cold beer. I've been on a little dry spell of hiatus, but I've told y'all before the season's over, I'm going to get cranked up here at least 1 or 2 good times before the show's over with, man. But getting right into that checkered flag for charity, man. If you guys are first watching the show, I've been thankful enough this year. John and Adele Henderson and all the people here at Coaches have been allowed me to come up and raise money for a personal friend of my family, Payson Thompson. We're raising money for her. Her mother passed away unexpectedly. Really good friend of mine and my wife's this past year, and we're just raising educational fund for her, man. Raising educational money goes into further her educational career. And I tell you what, it's been a great year so far. We still got 12 races to go. We still got coolers to do. We got a barbecue contest coming up. I'll be announcing that coming up towards the end of this month, getting ready for it. But at the end of the day, there he is, man, the myth, the legend himself right there, the Candy Man on the show back here. But I tell you what, man, it's always big thanks, and I do want to thank all the patrons of Coach's Corner this last weekend. Raised another $400, and on top of that, I've got to give a big shout out to Coach DeMasi, Coach Carl DeMasi. Man, he devoted his time Saturday night sitting up at the door. I like to say this all the time. Every show and everybody that's up here is the Coach's Corner family, man. We all know each other. We all watch out for each other. We all scratch each other's back. That was just a big thanks out there to Coach DeMasi, man, for doing that, devoting his time, raising money. I do know that he knew Aubrey as well and the family. So thank you, Coach. Love you, brother. I'm glad for everything, man. And good luck this Friday, man. I hope Islands High Sharks chew up them Calvary whatever and spits them out, man. I'm rooting for you. I know it means a lot to you. Got some family involved. I'm sure there's some side betting going on inside that house, back and forth on the text on the phone. Love you, Coach. Thank you, man. But did raise $400-something last week on that cooler full of joy. So thank you all the patrons that came out, got into the raffle, supported our cause here at Coach's Corner. So that brings the total this year to right around $3,000, a little bit over $3,000. Hey, man, y'all know how we do. Checkered flag for charity right here on Rubbin' and Grubbin. Every single car number that wins, we donate. Harvick won again, back-to-back. The 4 is never good enough. Anything outside that Christopher Bell and that 20 is always going to be a 20. 20 more bucks go in. Like I said, that brings that total to right around about $3,200 on the year. Doing good, and none of that is possible without y'all and the patrons of Coach's Corner, man. So as I say all the time, doesn't matter the denomination, nickels, pennies, dimes, 10, 20s, 150s, whatever it is you got to give, man, throw it in. If you're here with some friends after work having cold beers, bring the family up. You want to donate to the Checkered Flag for Charity or any charitable cause that Coach's has going on at the time. Stop your server, stop your waitress, your waiter, your bartender, management, anybody involved, man. Tell them you want to donate to the Checkered Flag for Charity. They're going to make sure that gets to the right place and the right people. And like I say, the best thing about it is it all stays local, man, right here in the Savannah area. I'm telling you, nobody does it like Coach's, whether it's food, whether it's concerts, whether it's charity work. Coach's Corner, center of the universe, y'all. Heard it here, man. So we're going to get into the second part of the segment right after I pause for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network. It's hot, y'all. It's been a long day. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Cheers, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Woo. All right, man. So getting into that who's hot and who's not, sponsored by Arbor Man Tree Service. Before I do, I got to give my main man, Parker Eccles, a big shout out there at Arbor Man. Thank you, brother, for everything you do for the show for me. On top of that, thanks for all the charity you do for here at Coach's Corner, man. Love you, dude. I always say it all the time. If you need any kind of tree service work done, make sure you give Parker a call. You're going to see that number scrolling on the screen tonight. I'm telling you, even if you're not sure of what you need, make sure you give him a call. He'll come out, be glad to give you an estimate, man. I say it all the time. Tree trimming, cutting some limbs back, full tree removal, stump grinding. Hey, if you're not sure, whatever it is, man, give him a call. Like I say, I know we're in hurricane season. It's been quiet out there. We hadn't had any threats, man, but I got a feeling here, so the end of September, October, and first part of November, it might be a little wild out in those tropics, man. So like I said, last thing you want is trees or limbs falling on your house. Give Parker a call over there, Arbor Man Tree Service. He'll be glad to get you squared up, man. Locally owned, locally operated, insured. My main man, Parker Eccles, man. Love you, brother. I'll give you a call here later on this week, man. But getting right into that who's hot. Hey, man, y'all already know. You see the hat. This is a pretty sweet hat. It's one of my newer ones, too, by the way. Chase Elliott, the Bulldog, going to stay number one on the list, man. Look, battle back there last week at Richmond, one of his worst racetracks in his career. Not good at Richmond. Not very good at Richmond anyways. Battles back, man. Bam. 5th place, top 5, baby. I'm telling you, this team finds a way to contend, if not to salvage the day and finish and get really good points, man. I've said it from 3 months ago, the beginning of the year. I called it championship 2023, Chase Elliott. I'm sticking to my guns. I hadn't been right on very many predictions this year, but I have been right on a couple. I'm going to be right on this one. I just think the 9 team is tried, tested, and true. The boys bring the thunder week in and week out. Allen sets the car up. The team does the pit stop, and the Bulldog drives the wheels off of it, man. So at the end of the day, until somebody shows me consistency week in and week out like the 9 team has shown me all season long, he'll stay number 1, man. So number 1, there again, that 9 team of Chase Elliott. Hey, 2 for me, I think this guy's got to make it. After back-to-back wins, man, the 4 car of Happy Harvick and Kevin Harvick, and Lawrence throws up the oval again, whatever it may be. The man, he's due some respect, right? So he's won back-to-back weeks. He's getting hot at the right time, moving into the playoffs. him and Roddy Childers finally starting to hit the nail on the head. They're bringing speed. They're qualifying good. The pits aren't making any stops. I mean, I said it early in the year. I thought he had Sonoma one up there when Daniel Suarez won. He put himself in great position, top 2 or 3 right there towards the end of that race. Pit crew choked it up, lost him on the track position. I think probably lost him that win. I think he probably would have at least outran Suarez, at least made it hard on him at the end of the day. But battled back, got 2 wins, moving in the playoffs, set himself pretty good in those playoff standings. Going to start mid-pack down towards the bottom somewhat, but at the end of the day, Harvick still doing his thing, man. So got to give a big shout out to Harvick. Snap that 65 race win streak there at Michigan, capitalizing on it, comes out and get another win at Richmond. Like I said, 2 of his best racetracks. So my biggest question for Harvick is going to be, can he continue to bring that consistency week in and week out through the playoffs at some of his not so good racetracks? So we'll see what happens. I feel like they found the speed. If they can put it all together week in and week out, I think Harvick will be there. I still have him out round of 12 at the furthest. Not going to make the round of 8. So round of 16, round of 12, Harvick's out. That's just my bet. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but you heard it here first again, man. So moving right in, hey, I got to give another big shout out on the Who's Hot list, man, to Christopher Bell, dude. I've been talking about him earlier in the summer. He got cold on me after a couple weeks. I started talking about him. I tell you what, man, had a really good run there at Richmond again. He's showing his strength in that 20 team for Joe Gibbs Toyotas. And to be honest, outside of, say, Denny Hamlin, he's had the most speed in the race car. I mean, we see Hamlin, we see Kyle Busch and his struggles. We see Martin Truex and his struggles. Hey, man, Christopher Bell is going to be the truth there here in a few years. Still a very young kid, been doing this for a few years now, finally coming into his own. I think he's figuring out what it takes communication-wise with Steve Adams there to get it together. I think he's also figuring out what it takes to put a whole complete race together. It's not just about going as fast as you can and turning left every single lap. You got to have some planning. As my dad always liked to say, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. You got to kind of have some kind of plan intact as a driver, and you got to have that communication with your crew chief, man. He's got to be able to understand what you need changed in the race car to make you be able to drive it better. So I think Christopher Bell is getting those things out, but he'll come in third on the hot list and wrap it up, man. So without further ado, we getting into the not list. And y'all should already know who number 1 on that not list is, man. That's Kyle Busch. And I tell you, I'm going to flip him back over this week because I did like what he said in the interview. He actually made a new verb, and it probably should be in the dictionary. I know it's in the NASCAR dictionary, and that's called getting chastained. I'm not going to say he got chastained. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but he did have a cool comment on that, and he did battle back, I think, to get his first top 10, man, in I don't know how many weeks, 7, 8 weeks there. So Kyle Busch, I put you back on your wheels, Candy Man. You can't be mad at me, man, but hey, at the end of the day, you're cold right now, man. You can't get a win. You can't really seem to buy yourself really good finishes. We saw what happened at Michigan. You tried to get off on the pit call, which I think that's on Ben Bashore and not Kyle Busch. I don't know who made the call, if they agreed on the call, but that's about the 3rd or 4th time this year you put yourself back in 22nd on back and got wrecked out. Whether it was your fault or not, or whether you were caught up in somebody else's mess, man, you got to start putting yourself and keeping that track position, man. We all know track position is king in NASCAR nowadays, man. And if you want to be a king, you got to do what kings do, man, and keep that track position, man. So I think they're learning finally. They're getting it together. But there again, I know they've had speed. They just hadn't been able to put it together. A long streak of 8 weeks outside top 10. Not used to seeing that out of Kyle. Now, I'm pretty sure I warned y'all before we even got started into the summer months early. I said he's had years where he struggles through the summer, man, whatever it may be. And this is one of those years he's struggling. Do I think he'll find it coming back in? I do. I think he will find some speed as we get into the playoffs. I see him definitely making the round of 8, potentially making the round of 4 if he can get a win. I think for him it's going to take a win. I think for all the guys in the round of 4, it's going to take a win this year. We'll see, but it's hard. Everybody's winning this year, man, and it seems like week in and week out we're getting different guys in the top 7, top 10. I think we'll see a little change of that in the playoffs, but right now, Kyle Busch, number 1 on the cold list, man. Chastained makes the cold list too, and no, it's not for what happened with Kyle Busch in the wreck, man. It's none of that at all. At the end of the way, it's just for making enemies, man. Whether it's a racing deal or not, eventually you got to lift out of the gas. He failed to do it. He got into Kyle a little bit, spun him out, had an off day there for Chastained. Used to seeing him run up front and finish up front. Man, he's pissed off the whole Joe Gibbs stable outside of Christopher Bell, I think, man. Kyle Busch is pissed, coined the verb Chastained. We got Martin Truex Jr. still hot as hell at him, I'm sure, for all the stuff at Dover and the different ways he raced him. Atlanta, hell, he hit him in Atlanta too. And hell, we all know, I'm going to throw $2 in just because I know Denny Hamlin's cussing Chastain right now somewhere, and we all know what Denny owes him. So I think the playoffs are going to be hard for Chastain, and that's why he's on the cold list for me, man. I mean, you're either going to have to outrun these guys and never get around them on the racetrack, which I do not see that happening. At some point in time, these guys are going to be around you. And I don't think we've seen Denny Hamlin pay back at all. I mean, what happened was a racing deal at Pocono. He gave him the option, lift or run out of room. He ran out of room. I think you're going to see Denny Hamlin or some of these guys really play ball hard, and I definitely think you're going to see Denny take him out at least one more time, and it's when it's really going to matter. I think he's going to let Chastain put himself into a position to where you're going to miss the playoffs, and Denny's going to make sure he misses them. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what the repercussions of that is as we get into the playoffs and further into the season. But right now, Chastain on the cold list for just driving folks hard. I'm not going to say is it right or is it wrong. I mean, I've seen some bigger name guys do it for a lot of years, and nobody really batted an eye. He actually got a bigger fan base. I think we'll see that with Ross Chastain as well. I think we'll see guys that like that aggressive style and I don't give an S, which I'll throw $1 in there even though I didn't say it. I'll never say that, but I don't give an S on the track and the way they race. I think you're going to have that fan base start following him. So it could pay dividends. I did see a cool shirt on Twitter today that said, "I got Chastained," and it was a picture of a watermelon with an X on one eye, tongue hanging out. If you selling them, I'm buying them because that's a cool T-shirt, man. But at the end of the day, Chastain comes in on that cold list. Hey, I hate to do it. It's my favorite organization in the sport. My favorite driver races for him. But Hendrick Motorsports, outside of Chase Elliott, has kind of got to come in on the cold list again. I put him there a couple times. William Byron and Alex Bowman have almost been non-existent as far as contending up front for wins and leading laps. Kyle Larson has had a quietly sneaky good season when you go back and look at top 5s and top 10s. He's got a lot of them. So I'm not necessarily going to direct the anger at the 5 other than the fact we're so used to seeing him run up front from last season and contend that he hasn't this year as much as we're used to seeing. So I think all 3 of those cars have some work to do before we get in the playoffs. Do I see them beating out some of these teams? I do. Do I see them going far in the playoffs? Not unless they really get on it and find the speed week in and week out, get the qualifying down, figure out ways to stay up front on the track, in that track position game, in that pit strategy game, and just have fast race cars to go out there and race, man. Whether they've had speed and just missed it throughout the race and hadn't been able to make the changes, or whether they totally unloaded like junk. They've just been off for a while since June. So look for those guys to hopefully make a turnaround. I think that's going to be the biggest question going into the playoffs. Can Hendrick Motorsports put more than the 9 camp or more than the 9 and 5 into a playoff? And I think, honestly, Kyle Larson is going to struggle a little bit with that as well. So can they get multiple cars into the deep rounds of the playoffs? And it's a big question. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't know the answer. I don't think they know the answer. Otherwise, they would have already started working on it. But I can tell you those guys are battling hard, and they're going to get it figured out. Hendrick's best owner organization in the sport, in my eyes, so they're going to get it figured out. They got fast cars. They'll get it done, man. So moving right into that recap, man, I tell you what, dude, to me that was some awesome short track racing, a lot better than what we've seen at Richmond night races in years past. It seemed like they were able to use the groove, multi-groove. Guys were going high, going low, diamond in corners, doing different things to be able to find that speed. We saw that late with Chris Buescher trying some different things. We definitely saw it with Christopher Bell just having a rocket towards the end. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, I thought the tire fall off was good. Speed was good. I think you saw guys come in later on in that run. And I think you saw fresher tires pay dividends at the end, as you saw with Harvick and definitely with Christopher Bell finding that speed. But at the end of the day, it's still short track racing. It's still Richmond. I still want them to keep 2 dates. I think that what they're doing there is working good. I think the next-gen car on short tracks has been disappointing at Martinsville a little bit. We'll see in October what changes NASCAR has made. But at the end of the day, Richmond, I think, was a decent race, man. Love to hear your feedback, so make sure you comment on the show tonight or on our Facebook or anywhere. Comment what you thought about Richmond, man. But, hey, Kevin Harvick came home with the checkers again, back-to-back checker flags. He's tightened it up, man. So at the end of the day, I think the Ford camp's something you got to watch out for moving forward. They've found speed over the last few weeks. If they can keep the consistency and car together and clean pit stops and good qualifying efforts, get in that track position, I think you'll see Kevin Harvick there again continue to move his way through the playoffs. Like I said, I don't see him going deep just from the consistency I've seen this year. He started out hot. All of a sudden it turned not. Now he's kind of moving back in the right direction. But everybody brings their A games in the playoffs, man. We're going to see how good the 4 teams got to put together. But did get that win at Richmond. Got to give a shout out there, man. So another big heartbreak there for Joey Logano, man. Look, this is another guy that's been really quiet into the summer move. I mean, basically after that win at Worldwide Technology there in St. Louis, has really kind of went cold, to be honest. I mean, had some good runs, but nothing to write home about. Hasn't showed dominating speed by any factor. And I tell you what, Richmond looked like it was going to be that. And ironically enough, the 22 car leads 222 laps at Richmond. So that's a lot of twos. That's 5 twos all put together. And he still couldn't bring home the checker. So heartbreak there for Logano. That was the first time there again, like I said, since Worldwide Technology to me, he actually showed some dominating speed and was able to go out and dominate first half of that race. He said it himself. I think the cloud coverage coming in, definitely the front turn in the car wasn't where it was when it was hot and slick. That was kind of that advantage they had getting into the center and off the turns. And once the sun kind of went away and cloud coverage came, he kind of lost that. And that's just a setup deal. And I think with the next-gen car, you can only change so much. I don't know if you can come back depending on where you started the race, throughout the race as you could in years past. So something to keep an eye on, but heartbreak there again for Joey Logano, man. Good run, but not good enough to bring home the checkers, man. So, like I said earlier, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch tangled up there. Kyle, says he got Chastained. In my eyes, it looked like Chastained just was either leaving a little bit of room for that bottom groove or washed up a little bit and got into him. But at Richmond, I'm not really going to complain. That just happens, man. It is what it is. There again, Kyle, coined the new term, got Chastained, man. So new verb in the NASCAR dictionary there. I'm sure I'll use it on the show. A lot of guys are going to be using it. I think that was more or less one of the racing deals. I'm not going to chalk that up as intentional or him aggressively driving. But there again, got to get out of the gas pedal, man, every once in a while. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. And a lot of folks are just going to do the same to you, race others how you want to be raced. So the days of Earnhardt Sr. rattling cages and wrecking folks week in and week out to get a win, not that cool no more against the young kids and these guys, these style drivers now, man. So if you want to do it, you can do it, but expect to have the same done to you, man. They're not playing around. So, hey, got to give a big shout out to Chris Buescher, or we can call him Christopher Buescher this week, because he did put the name on the car, Christopher, this week. Great run there at Richmond, man. Brought the Roush Fenway Keselowski RFK Racing number 17 home in third. Man, just a great run for him. I love him. He's a Texan, man. I love to see him come home with good runs. I think that program at times has shown when they're on the setup and when they hit, they can contend. They can run up front. We saw it at Sonoma as well, or another road course, a couple road courses throughout the year. A couple other tracks, they've had some speed and had some good runs. So I think for them, the biggest thing is where we move forward from here, and just the consistency week in and week out, finishing the races, having good equipment, bringing good equipment to the race. I think unloading is key for them. And just building that personnel and building that engineering relationship in that department and figuring out what it takes to make these next-gen cars go fast. So I think that's something they're working on. I think that's something here in the future. Brad Keselowski already said it. It's not a one-year deal. We're trying to grow and progress this into what Roush was, the glory days. So this isn't going to be done in 1 year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years. It might take 5 years for them to grow this program back. But you got Brad behind the wheel. You got Chris Buescher, who's been in there multiple years and drove a lot of different style of race cars, still a young guy. So I see that program growing better next year than what it was this year, and I can see them continuing to grow and move forward. So when will they come back to winning ways? That I don't know. We might see it at Talladega or somewhere like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, week in and week out consistency, I think it's going to be a couple years on them, man. So getting right into Watkins Glen preview, man, we're going back to the Glen up in New York, man. What an awesome road course. There's so much history there. We've had Tony Stewart's, upset tummy scandal. We've had one of the best races ever, best finishes ever in NASCAR history there. When you go back and look at Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose and all the different guys there. We had a couple other good ones with Denny Hamlin throughout the years, racing hard there towards the end. So the Glen to me is always historic. I never want to see the Glen get taken off of the schedule. I think it's one road course that has to stay on. I say it as well. Sonoma's got to stay on. If you want to put 4 in on my schedule, I've got 4 racetracks, which here coming up soon, I will break down a 36 race schedule for me, really quick, not going into detail about tracks, but running down how I feel the season should go. But those two will definitely be on it. I think 4 road courses max is good enough for me. I like the Roval. I don't know if I like it in the playoffs. I do like that, Roval style racing, whether it's Daytona or Charlotte. And I do like a couple of the other true road courses. So I think there again, like I said, 4 rotating week in and week out, but the Glen's got to be a staple, man. Just too much history at Watkins Glen to give it up, man. So, getting right into it, man, it's an awesome road course. It's not a lot of twists and turns, and there is some elevation change. This is more about high-speed road course racing, and that's what makes it very exciting, man. These guys are going to be dive bombing. These guys are going to be sending that car in there. I don't want to see an Indy. I really hope that NASCAR has it under control and we don't do what we did at Indy again and just everybody record checkers at the end and pile 30 cars into one turn. I hope these guys have enough couth and racing etiquette about them not to do that. We'll see. It is winding down to the playoffs. Up front's one thing, but 15th on back, come on, guys, man. Just get it squared up. Make it through a couple turns, single file, race hard, race clean, make it happen. But it's going to be exciting, man. So there again, Chase Elliott coming in as the favorite. Y'all gonna have to wait and see if you got him in. If I got him number 1 in my top 5, but come on, man, I'm a fan. I'll tell y'all. Y'all know I got him number 1. The newest road course ace, only got 1 win this year. I think we got some other guys in there that's been doing their thing this year on road course races. We're gonna have to wait and see what they do this week at the Glen. But there again, a lot of guys been doing good. A lot of different winners on road courses this year, man. So we'll see who can do it. But I'll look for Elliott to do it as well again, man. So we got to tune in Sunday and see. We'll see if it's a first-time winner, or if it's Elliott, or if it's another guy. I'm not going to say who, but we'll see if it's him as well. So top 5, man, getting right into it. Without further ado, I am going to pause for station identification on Coach's Corner Sports Network. Thanks, y'all. Woo! All right, man, getting into that top 5. This is where I break down who I feel are going to, run good, who's got the chance to win. Number 1. Chase Elliott, man, in that 9 car. Come on, man. We know road course ace and the new age drivers. Only got 1 this year, man. Hey, you seeing it. You seeing it. You seeing it. Only got 1 this year, though, right? So I look for him. I've said it for a few weeks. He's going to have more than, another win going into the playoffs. It's about to happen right here, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it is getting ready to happen at Watkins Glen this weekend. Chase Elliott, all the cookies going into that jar. Chase Elliott wins, Watkins Glen. That's going to be the headlines on Monday morning right there, y'all. So I'm not even going to waste any more time talking about how good he is or what he does. The Bulldog coming home with a trophy at Watkins Glen, man. Number 2, this is a new guy I like to call him. I got a nickname for everybody. They stick sometimes they don't. But Tyler Chucky Reddick is what I like to call him, man. Oh, little Chucky out here. This man's been slaying it on road courses. Got 2 wins, got his first career win, got a second career win, both on road courses. And it wasn't that long ago at Indy, man. So Tyler Reddick and RCR's got some things lined out, what he likes in that race car. He's got a knack for road course racing. I'm telling you right now, I got him 2 on this list. Don't be surprised if you see, little Chucky Tyler Reddick come home with a 3rd win on a road course, man. Going to be something to watch. Going to be freaking awesome. I love it. Good luck. But right now, the 8 car comes in 2. 3 for me is a guy you never really think about. Whew, got the hiccups, y'all. Being a road course racer, I think he's got a win or 2 at a road course. It's Denny Hamlin. I think over the last few weeks, he just brought a lot of speed. I don't know if he's going to go out and get a checker here, but I do expect the 11 to run up front. Maybe some different pit strategy. If we have a couple of natural cautions instead of stage-in cautions, which is something else we need to talk about here later on. But if we get a couple of natural cautions, be able to throw the pit schedule off and the strategy off a little bit. Maybe the 11 has the lead late. Maybe somebody's got to track him down, but be on the lookout for him, man. 4, Ross Chastained. We saw him get a win earlier on the road course. We also saw his teammate, Daniel Suarez, get a win on the road course. So Trackhouse always brings fast cars, it seems like. We haven't really seen them up front contending for another win since that. But at the end of the day, they do bring good equipment week in and week out. So I think without taking Ross Chastain and finishing in the top 5 as many times as he had, you're just dumb. So I'll take Chastain. 4. 5 for me is the guy that just crept his way up and been heating up, and that's Kevin Harvick, man. I know Kevin Harvick, I think, got a couple wins at the Glen, or at least one. Not sure. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, I look for Kevin Harvick to come out and have another really good run this week. I think that with that ball rolling and the way that team works, him and Rodney Childers has always had a knack to seem like once they get on it, they're on it, right? So I think coming into the Glen, you're going to see the 4 team. Had a good car there again at Sonoma. Played the strategy right, got up front late, lost it on that last pit stop. I hope that they've got all the kinks worked out. Pit crew hits, Rodney Childers brings the fast car, Kevin Harvick drives the wheels off of it. We could be talking about a 3-peat in that 4 car, man. So stay tuned. Like I said, tune in Sunday at the Glen. We'll see who does it, man. Dark horses right here. I got Suarez on there. I mean, there again, already won that road course at Sonoma. I think that's a guy with pretty good odds. You got to look at maybe a top 3. We'll see who's in those dark horses when I got my money bet. But 16, AJ Allmendinger, you can never really count him out on a road course as well. Underfunded team right there for Colleague in the Cup Series, but that dude's an ace. That dude knows what he does. Always going to bring that thunder, man. Always going to bring a good car. And another guy, Austin Cindric, man, the 2 car. We've seen him win I don't know how many times on road courses in Xfinity. He's contended here late in different races. That 2 car always seems to bring the thunder, and he's a really good road course racer, man. So keep an eye out for the 2 car of Austin Cindric. Penske equipment, good equipment. Come on, man. All right, y'all. Getting right into the money bet. Look, man, we hit last week with Kevin Harvick, taking them for the win and the top 3. We profited, right around $400, something like that. After all said and done, a little bit of unit money there. Doing pretty good, man. This week, we're going to go in a little bit harder. I looked at some odds. There are some guys down there that has the potential to run good. So if you're looking for the for sure thing, you guys know me. I'm always taking them one for sure. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, we're definitely going to be throwing some money on those 2 guys. You just can't help yourself when it comes to road courses and those 2. So we'll definitely be putting some money on them. But I already mentioned a couple guys. When you look at Kevin Harvick, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, you even throw a guy like Christopher Bell in there. Man, they've got really good odds and really good payout money for that. Austin Cindric, I think, is at plus 900, 9-1 odds. That's not bad. I mean, especially for that guy and what he does there. Allmendinger will be a little further back. Really good odds there. The 17 and the 22 are 2 guys you got to keep an eye on for those odds. They are, I think, 1,800, 18-1 on Christopher Bell. So a top 3 there might pay out well. Depending on if Kurt Busch or Ty Gibbs comes back in the car, odds are looking good on that piece of equipment. I think Ty Gibbs has proven himself in Xfinity. He can go out and road course race. I know this is a different car, different style car, but he's done pretty well so far, minus the engine, failure they had last week. Got a top 10 there the week before, and, decent run finishing the race before that. So there again, we'll just see what they can do, but those are going to be some deeper guys to look at in those odds. You can bet some money on, make some big money. Hey, if they win, you hit, man. That's all there is to it. So I'll let you know last week how we do, but there again, this past week, a couple $100 profit. Hey, man, we'll take it. All goes to a good cause anyways, man. So before we get in, got to get into the hard right turn. Before we do, that's always sponsored by Lamar's Body Shop. Right up here off Skidaway, a hop, skip, and a jump away from Coach's Corner, man. If you guys ever need anything automotive body-wise, paint-wise, estimate for those pesky insurance companies, make sure you go ahead right up here off Skidaway Road. Check Lamar out. Been in service, serving the Savannah area for 35 plus years. The man is a god around here. Awesome dude, great human being, all local right here, man. So I'm telling you right now, once again, you get a fender bender, you chip some paint up, you just want to get the car repainted, man, go talk to Lamar, man. Like I said, I've had family car repair there. We know numerous people, patrons of Coach's Corner, always speak highly about Lamar. But like I said, Lamar's Body Shop, right up here off Skidaway Road. Make sure you go check them out. Lamar, thank you, brother, for everything you do, man. See you soon, dude. So getting right into that hard right turn, I mentioned it earlier, and I talked about it a couple weeks ago again. It's just the new, the winning your end point system, we'll call it, right? So I think the point system has to have a complete overhaul. It was either last week or week before we talked about this, and this is why, man. You think about it like this. If you've got a guy that comes in, races all 36 races, 38 if you talk about, the Busch Class, the All-Star event. You can talk about the duels. I don't really consider those races. They're not point-paying races, but 36 point-paying races, and a guy could finish second every single race. 36 races a year, the guy could finish second all season in the first 26 races, finish second. and guess what? Not win, and we have 16 winners, and he's out of the playoffs. That's just not right, man. Consistency is dead. There's no payoff to not winning a race and finishing consistently. There's no payoff at all. We're looking at it with Ryan Blaney. Got that win at the All-Star race at Texas, but no point-paying win. 15, 16, find himself on the bubble right there. Truex is out, but he finds himself second or third in regular season. Why? Consistency. Hardly any DNFs, stage wins, consistent week in and week out. Now you turn around and you go look at a guy like Daniel Suarez. You go look at a guy like Austin Cindric. You go look at a guy like Christopher Bell, is a little bit better than them, but I mean, these guys have DNFs. These guys do not finish races. Ryan Blaney has not had that many. Ryan Blaney has been consistent all year, and he's getting ready to find himself on the outside looking in if a Chris Buescher or an Austin Dillon or somebody else like that, or he has one bad race, man. You get one bad race right here at the Glen, you have mechanical failure 10 laps in, Truex comes in, finishes top 10, big point day. Go to Daytona, have trouble again, you're out, man. Truex is in. So I think it's something when you have two guys that are in the top 5, top 6 in regular season points that are one's out and one's on the verge, on the bubble, and the race comes down between those two guys, I just think it's something we got to look at as a sport, man. NASCAR's really got to take a look. If not this year, 2024, we got to revamp this to where wins pay, but consistency pays. I think those wins should not pay through the regular season as much as they do. I don't think a win should guarantee you a spot in a playoff when you find a guy that's got more regular season points than you, but he's out of the playoffs. So I think those wins should come in that if you make the playoffs, if you win the playoffs, those wins pay higher dividends than what they do now. When and if you get into those playoffs with that win, you get paid for those points and for that win, not before, not being, Austin Cindric won Daytona. What's he done since, man? How many top 10 runs has Austin Cindric had since Daytona? I bet it ain't 10. I guarantee you it ain't 10. So at the end of the day, we're going to award a guy who won the first race of the year as a rookie. And granted, it is a big race. You're already getting paid the money. You're already getting the points. But you haven't consistently raced throughout the season. And we're going to penalize two guys that consistently race throughout the season and maybe not make the chase, or the playoffs, excuse me. So I think it's just something NASCAR has to look at. I think it's a bad feel, especially with these next-gen cars, as close as we are competition-wise. A win can't mean you're in. It can't be a win and you're in, and everybody's going to go, well, just because they win doesn't mean they're in. Let's face it, dude, unless we have 17 different winners, if you win, you're in. Maintain the top 30 in points, you win, you're in. We got Kurt Busch right here with a medical exemption, ain't racing 3 weeks. He's still in the damn playoffs, man. So at the end of the day, I think it's something NASCAR's got to take a look at. I think ownership and drivers should really take a look at, especially if Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex both miss the playoffs. If Chris Buescher comes in, Austin Dillon comes in, wins a race, and Blaney's pushed out, you got two guys in the top 5 not going to win. And I don't mean to jock Chris Buescher or Austin Dillon or any other car that's out there that can possibly come and get a win and be in. I'm not going to hate on them for that. I'm just going to downguard NASCAR for doing what they're doing and not making a point system that not only rewards consistency, but it rewards the win when the win's due to be awarded, and that's the playoffs, not regular season. So that's just my thoughts. Love to hear what y'all think about it. Let's get back to a little more old school, man, and just, hey, you win, you get a win, pay for it in the playoffs, consistency throughout the regular season. Just my outlook on it, man. So that's going to do it for the rubbing, man. We're getting right into the grubbing, and I got something pretty good for you here at Coaches. We are going to New York. It ain't going to quite be like that New York style dog. It ain't that Coney, it ain't that big long guy. But dude, we do got a good fat daddy sausage dog up here, man. Coach's Corner fried home chips. These things are freaking awesome. Some of my favorite. Got some bell peppers on there, some onions. I'm going to throw mustard on this bad boy, sauerkraut. I'm getting ready to tear this thing up, man. But check it out. Big dog. Hey, and I already told you, we got a dog on here for the Bulldog, Chase Elliott, getting ready to go out and going to win Watkins Glen. Just because dogs are breeding dogs out here, baby. This is how we roll right here at Coaches, man. I say it all the time. If you haven't yet, come up, man. Get some good food. It's got awesome. There's not one bad thing on this menu at Coach's Corner. I've eaten it all numerous ways, numerous times throughout the years. John, the daily lunch specials they run up here, man, I was here yesterday with the fam, got the meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans. I tore that down. I had 2 slabs of meatloaf, but they'll always get the trip out of how much I can eat. But at the end of the day, man, like I say, awesome food, awesome friends, awesome time. Coach's Corner, Thunderbolt, Georgia, y'all. Before I get out of here, I got to give a big shout out to the shows as well. Want to give a big shout out again to Coach DeMasi. Thank you, brother, for everything you did for the charity on Saturday. Greatly appreciated. I owe you one. I'll definitely help you out. You know that. I'm only a phone call away. We see each other all the time. Love you, Coach. Thank you, brother. But Coach Carl DeMasi, man, every Tuesday, who's on first base? Breaking down all that MLB news with Kyle Larson, man, keeping you up to date on everything that's changing in the MLB, who's hot, who's not, who's streaking. And hey, I don't know if y'all been watching, but them Braves are on fire, baby. Them Braves are heating up right, tearing this series up against the Mets, which is nothing more than what we needed, chopping it up, scoring runs left and right. Hey, we chopping on up here at Coaches, man. Go Bravos, baby. That's what I'm talking about. But, hey, make sure you catch that every Tuesday. Also, Saturday morning, Saturday, 9 to 9:30. God, why do I always get that confused, man? Saturday mornings, 9 to 9:30, 9 to 10. 10:30, an hour and a half long. Coach breaks this down. 9 to 10:30. Coach DeMasi breaking down with the Coach Carl DeMasi Sports Report. All prep sports, man. Keeping you up to date on who's hot and who's not in that. Volleyball, I'm telling you, Coach covers it all, man. He's been a staple forever. Football, basketball, whatever's in season, volleyball, hockey if they play it, lacrosse if they play it, golf, everything. Coach, all the prep sports here in the Savannah area. Coach is always going to keep you up to date on that, man. So make sure you tune into that. Again, I got it right now. Saturdays, 9 to 10:30, live right here at Coach's Corner on Coach's Corner Sports Network. Big shout out to the boys on the 19th hole and that golf craziness they do for the Masters every year. Can't ever get off the show without giving a shout out with that. If you hadn't yet, check that on YouTube. Awesome show. Also, got to give a shout out to the guys over on Hot Grits, man. Travis Spencer breaking down all that news for you sports every Tuesday. Anywhere you stream your podcast, you can stream Hot Grits. I'm actually getting ready to be a guest on there next week. I'm really looking forward to it, man. It'll be the first time I've been on their show. They've been on mine a couple times. Travis has for sure. So really interesting to see how this goes. Should be interesting, man. I want to go some back and forth with Travis on a couple different things, and I'm sure we're going to be talking it up and chatting it up. We're getting into those NASCAR playoffs. I'm sure some stuff will be brought up about that. But again, Hot Grits, Tuesday, anywhere you stream your podcast, they dropping those new episodes, man. Before I get out of here, got to give a big shout out to John and Adele Henderson again here at Coach's Corner and all their staff, everybody that works here, man. Thank y'all very much for everything you do for me, the fam, all the shows, man. We love it. It's a huge community deal here to be a part of Coach's Corner. So I just always want to give my thanks, man. I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday night out there. I say it all the time. Make sure you give your loved ones a hug, kiss them. Tomorrow's not given, man. Hey, if you're in school, batting it down, buckle it up, get those good grades, man. Get rewarded for it. Hey, until next time, y'all. Love you. Peace out. As always, stay safe. Wash your hands, y'all. Love you, man. Hey, hey. Hey.